there. All right. So first things first, the first question is easiest, name and title.
Craig Thompson, Secretary of the Department of Transportation.
Designated right now. You haven't gotten the full-time job yet. When you thinking you're maybe going to be at the end of that process to get it full-time?
Probably within the next month or two, I would imagine. Yeah. It's full-time right now, though. There's no difference in the job that you're doing. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So part of your job today, obviously, was checking out some of the roads and the public transportation here in the Wausau area. What were your impressions?
Well, my impressions are that the metro system here is doing everything they can with the dollars they have, but it's less than they were getting a decade ago, and it makes it very hard for them to be able to continue the service, and they've had to cut some service to people that really need it. So our budget, is going to provide an increase in transit, and it should help systems like Metro here in Wausau significantly.
Yeah, and because one of the big things that has kind of been an issue is you can't get a Metro bus out to the industrial park, the industrial jobs that hampers their ability to hire, and you can't get a bus to go over to Rib Mountain. I mean, that hampers some people when it comes to shopping and employment as well. Are those barriers that you're maybe hoping to clear in the next couple of years?
That's exactly right. What you just said is exactly right. It's a workforce issue. We're not able in this area to get to all the people to get to the jobs that they need to get to. There was a lady that was riding this morning that was going to the North Central Healthcare Facility to visit her husband, and then they're shopping as well. So when the funds get cut and routes get cut, it really does impact people's lives. So yes, we're hoping to turn that around and be able to allow them to increase some of these routes. I know another person was begging for them to get Saturday service back again, and I know it's something they're looking at. So I think this funding, if we get it through, would help them provide that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as people say, your life doesn't stop on the weekends. People still have to do things on Saturdays and Sundays, and even just a few hours of service would make a difference.
That's absolutely right.
So we're watching that story here across the area as well, and well as road conditions. I mean, it's something that Tony Evers ran on. Obviously, something that you are going to take a mantle that you're going to take up as well. Talk about the conditions of the roads that you've seen today in around the Wausau area, and what do you think our biggest problems are?
Well, the conditions, what I've seen in the Wausau area today, and I've driven through Wausau many times, are pretty similar to what I've seen throughout the state. If you look at the conditions of our state highways in Wisconsin compared to our neighbors in the Midwest, we have the worst road conditions by a large margin. There's something called the International Roughness Index that every state has to measure the smoothness of the roads and report it to the federal government. And only 32% of our state highways were in good condition compared with a lot of our neighbors that were at 75%. So we've got a long way to go.
Yeah, and one of the proposals to help get you there a little quicker was obviously an 8-cent per gallon increase in the gas tax. It's part of the budget process right now. How much does that help?
Well, the 8 cents is really the main part of the new revenue we'd be proposing. We're proposing an 8-cent increase in the gas tax, an increase in the registration fees on heavy trucks of 27%, and then a $10 fee increase when you get a new title for your car. But that 8-cent gas tax, between all those three things combined, it would give us about $600 million a biennium more going forward, and it would allow us, and we're putting the vast majority of that into fixing the roads we already have, either through our state highway rehabilitation program or through aids to our counties, cities, villages, and towns.
How much would that local aid increase then?
Each of those, the Marathon County and the city of Wausau would each get a 10% increase in their aids. And then for the city of Wausau, they would also get a 10% increase in their transit operating assistance as well.
So that's something that could definitely go a long way then. But the other thing with that is a lot of areas here in Marathon County is a $25 wheel tax when you register your vehicle. So a lot of people, say you're putting that on top of the $25 already. Is that something that you'd maybe be hoping to cancel out then, or eliminate the need for?
Well, we'd hope to eliminate the need for. That's a local decision. That would be Marathon County's decision. But if you look at our state registration fee is $75 here in Wisconsin. What they added is $25 onto that. But that's still a lower registration fee than you'd find in any of our neighboring states by quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you, I've been a resident of Minnesota and South Dakota both, and $75 is a bargain.
Yeah, it's much lower. So, but yes, but the reason we're doing this is so that locals don't have to turn to a wheel tax in order just to be able to meet their needs.
Yeah, and as far as county highways and county funding goes, I know County Road K is kind of one of the big ones around here. And then as far as state highways go, there's Business 51, also known as Grand Avenue here in the Wausau, Schofield, Rothschild area. I'm sure you've had a chance to go down that. It's not exactly a smooth ride as well. We've been told it could be 10 years before that even comes up on the radar. So we're talking maybe 15 to 20 before it actually gets worked on. Any way you can get that bumped up in the process?
The answer is yes. That's why we need a budget like this passed. If we can get the increase in the highway rehabilitation program, Ken over here tells me we think we could get it scheduled within the next 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Because, while the pavement is in good condition, the frost heaves or the buckling in the roadway is to the point where, plows can't even effectively work on that stretch of highway. That's obviously something you don't want to see.
No, and it's a poster child for what we're seeing in a lot of the areas around the state. And if we can get more, again, into this rehabilitation program, these are the type of roads that we're going to be able to move up so that people in Wausau don't have to wait 10 to 15 years for it to get fixed.
I know there's a lot of people in town that are going to be happy to hear that. Any other impressions that you had of the area here as you're kind of touring around? I'm guessing you've been doing these little tours elsewhere in the state as well, right?
I have, and I've come to Wausau, hundreds of times for different things, and I always love coming to Wausau area. It's a great spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you, and we're glad that you were able to kind of see the condition that the roads were in here today. And before we let you go, though, we'll ask you. You've talked about a few of your priorities right now. Is there anything else that's on your agenda, or anything else that you're looking forward to being able to solve as you're in this position?
Well, I've also been working with a lot of the county highway commissioners to see if we can. We're trying to develop a pilot program to lower their delivery costs. When we're looking at some simple bridges and some simple designs where we can maybe cut the red tape for them and allow them to save money, and that's something we're really excited about as well. The Marathon County Highway Commissioner Jim Griesbach's been a big part of that.
And as far as bridges go as well, that's another piece of the infrastructure that has been a hot topic as well. I mean, is there anything in the area that you see that you'd like to fix there as well?
Well, I know they've got quite a few bridges in the local bridge program here that are going to be scheduled that are going to be replaced. So the county's very busy with that. There's not a lack of need. So.
Yeah, well, and now you may be getting some of the more funding to help with that as well.
That's what we're hoping for.
Anything else that you'd like to add then before we let you go?
And again, I think what we're proposing is pretty modest if you compare it with our neighbors. Minnesota, their governor's proposing a 20-cent increase in their gas tax. Ohio's proposing an 18-cent increase in their gas tax. And Michigan's proposing a 45-cent increase in their gas tax. So I think what we're proposing is really pretty modest. And we're also offsetting it with changing the minimum markup law, which requires gas stations to mark up the price of gas by 9%, which with the gas prices right now means about 14 cents on the dollar. If we get rid of that law, that can have a downward pressure on gas prices to really negate any of these increases in the gas tax we're talking about. So
what you're talking about then is, maybe the price would stay the same, but it would just be allocated differently, correct?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, right, awesome. Now, folks will like to hear about that as well. Anything else then before we let you go?
No, I think that's it.
All right, perfect.